The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Annabeg High School has dire needs, and Southern Region Taekwondo concludes. The National Airports Corporation Board in a recent meeting has resolved to uphold the status quo in relation to the appointment of Joseph Tupiri as Acting Managing Director and CEO of NAC. Tupiri's appointment is for a further 3 months effective today, March 6 to June 6, 2023. This means the continued suspension of Rex Kiponge as NAC Managing Director and CEO stands until a further decision is made. The board assures all stakeholders and the traveling public of continued undisputed services, undisrupted services at all 22 national airports. The state will no longer be held liable for claims brought about because of police misconduct. Morobe Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Singura drew attention to changes made in Section 5 of the Claims by and Against the State Act 1996. When officers of the State act outside of their mandated functions or responsibilities, they will be held personally responsible.
Over 8,827 claims are registered in the Office of the Solicitor General, valuing from an amount of 5,000 kina in the District Court to 30 million kina in the National Court of Papua New Guinea. The Office of the Solicitor General said approximately 3/4 of the 400 million kina in claims involved the police. Police raids on villages, looting and destruction of property and food gardens, assault, brutality and breach of constitutional rights are the common allegations against the police. Following the review of the claims by and against the State Act 1996, Morobe Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Singura told his officers that they will now be held personally accountable for their actions.
Any civil suits, it will have to come out from our own pockets. So dispersing out a minimum. We've got to be professional in the real sense. Do your job according to the rule of law. Not beyond, not the uniform. Nagan na ito ka, the police ya. Come back, blame, sorry, you had by yourself. And that is the fact now. So when you do the job, think about the repercussions. Am I doing the right thing according to law?
PPC Singura challenged his officers to refocus and do away with police brutality, the abuse of citizens' constitutional rights, burning of homes and property destruction.
Law and finish. 10 hours and before, you go cook him house finish, you kill him man finish, you throw him and talk, lose him long, something blow state. It's no longer something blow state. Something blow you yet. You walk him, you yet back him. Kick back blowing.
Frida Kana, TV1 News.
The steering committee for the 2023 World Indigenous Business Forum, Papua New Guinea, is tasked to organize the country's biggest national event since the APEC meeting in 2018. On announcing the committee, the Minister for International Trade and Investment encouraged the members to deliver the best indigenous program ever put together by any country. Papua New Guinea will for the first time play host to the World Indigenous Business Forum, or WIBF, this year. Said to be the biggest event since the hosting of the APEC summit in 2018, the two-day event is estimated to be hosted at a cost of over 6 million kina. The national government has already committed 2 million kina towards this event. Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, encouraged the members of the steering committee for the WIBF 2023 to deliver the best indigenous program ever put together by any country.
So I am looking forward to a committee that will think outside the box, a committee that will work to deliver the best indigenous program ever put together by any country, and a committee that will work towards ensuring that our objectives of making sure everybody goes away with a clear understanding that we are an attractive tourist destination, investment destination, and we have businesses who are ready to trade and export and do business with the world. And we have indigenous business partners who are ready to partner their colleagues in other indigenous nations from across the world.
Minister Maru says the committee's main task is to ensure that the event showcases Papua New Guinea as an investment and tourism destination. The event will provide local MSMEs the opportunity to showcase their products, services and businesses. The ministry hopes to connect local businesses with international markets and collaboration for trade.
It will only happen if there is teamwork, cooperation. We move in a timely manner and secure the support of course, the government, the Prime Minister himself, my colleague ministers, other key stakeholders including the private sector, and our own MSMEs who must take ownership, be there and drive this and benefit from the unique opportunity that this summit will create and provide.
It is expected that the WIBF will generate $5 million in terms of foreign exchange earnings from international delegates coming into Papua New Guinea, that is over 16 million kina. PNG is the first country in the Pacific region to purchase the new video spectral comparator. The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary Forensic Document Examination Section, with the support of the PNG government, launched the machine today. The capability of the new VSC 8000HS built by Foster Freeman in the United Kingdom has in fact re-established and boosted the Forensic Document Examination Unit, as Stefania Gomez, application specialist from Foster Freeman, joined the forensic team in Gordon's, Port Moresby, to hold a training on how to use the forensic machine.
For 39 years, the assistance in investigating and providing scientific expert evidence of disputed documents has been a struggle for the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary Forensic Document Examination Section. Now the Forensic Document Examination Section have worked towards fixing that issue by purchasing their new video spectral comparator. Assistant Commissioner of Police Crimes Hodges Ete stated that the capability of the new VSC 8000HS has in fact re-established and boosted the Forensic Document Examination Unit.
The Crimes Division is the most important arm of the constabulary. It is responsible for dealing with the enforcement of the core function of the constabulary as defined by the Constitution, law enforcement. The Commissioner and the Executive Management has come to realization that they need to assist, and this year, thank you to the Government of Papua New Guinea, it has come in a big way with assistance from partners.
The new VSC 8000HS, which is built by Foster Freeman, located in UK, is a state-of-the-art workstation with system features, software and applications that are essential to examine and authenticate documents, passports and ID cards, security documents, banknotes and checks, and inbuilt library system containing specimen authenticates documents for over 100 countries. Application specialist from Foster Freeman, Stefania Gomez, joined the forensic team in Gordon's, Port Moresby, to hold a training on how to use the VSC 8000HS from Monday the 6th till Friday the 10th of March.
Tom Freeman and myself, we do appreciate your excitement and your will to learn about the product, and I will make sure myself that I share with you all my knowledge in the VSC, my knowledge in documents, and I will of course try and help and assist with any case you've got. I'm here to help in any way, shape or form. So I've got no doubt that this machine is going to help all your needs.
The product costs more than 800,000 kina. Once the VSC 8000 HS is commissioned, it will be utilized to assist in strengthening law enforcement, domestic government production institutions and related disputed crime. Jasmine Ero, TVWAN News.
Meantime, the construction of the Police Biological and Biochemical Forensic Scientific Laboratory at Gordon is 98% complete and would be opened this June. The highly controlled facility is said to bring in 500,000 to 1 million kina worth of equipment to facilitate the lab. Forensic biologist OIC Biological and Biochemical Testing Inspector Brian Takaboy stated that there will be 5 trained uniformed personnel and 5 experts who will work in the laboratory.
The first type of testing is molecular testing. Molecular involves DNA, testing of DNA, and even further down to the, if we have to identify if there's anything that is new, that is unknown, previously unknown, that has been found in the country and it is sent over for us to test. So we will be also doing molecular test involving DNA analysis and also right down to the gene sequence level. We will be doing toxicological and biochemical analysis of samples and substances like, for example, drugs, hard drugs like methamphetamine or amphetamine, cocaine and all those other drugs. And the third type of testing we'll be doing is pathological test. So pathological test involves, we attend crime scenes, we see a lot of blood stains, so we'll be testing for identification of blood. Normally we do deal with stains that are dried blood stains, so if it is human blood. So that testing for semen in sexual offense cases, and also testing of tissues and organs.
Personnel from the Morobe Provincial Police Headquarters were deployed on Saturday, March 4, to address lawlessness at Finchafen's Hube LLG. In early February, locals in Queensland's village were attacked over the beheading of a member of their community. During that time, 2 men were burnt to death in a house. Many were injured, while 18 houses were razed to the ground. In response, the Morobe PPHQ deployed a team on Saturday morning. Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Singura said the team is now making its way from Gagidu Station to Pindiu. Singura appealed to the people to assist police and have the suspects involved in the killings on either side to surrender, peace to be restored and normalcy to be returned. He said what has been done is over and they should let police do their job. This is TV1 News. Among stories after the break, a remote school in dire need and Save the Children agreement.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
It's that time again! Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scale School money for 2023. Over 220 winners. 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scale School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
The Brain Changer.
Open lens.
see you day in, day out, getting on with the job. Coming out on top because you're not one to back down. From the islands to islands, from the southern to the north, we see you. Moving heaven and earth to move our country forward. And at the end of the day, we will be there to serve Papua New Guineans who achieve success with the reward they deserve.
It's Smile O'Clock. It's Smile O'Clock. Gotta brush our teeth. Time o'clock. Did you have a nice day?
Real good.
Hanging out
In the neighborhood.
Had some dinner, now it's time to relax. Put on some PJs after taking a bath. Wanna read a story, but look, it's
Smile O'Clock.
Gotta brush our teeth.
Time o'clock.
Before it gets late,
Yeah, all of us.
everybody's happy when we brush, brush, brush.
Yeah.
Smile O'Clock. Smile O'Clock. Time o'clock. So brush, brush, brush.
Welcome back. Prime Minister James Marape has offered the country support to Vanuatu after the disasters brought on by tropical cyclones Judy and Kevin. On Sunday, Marape offered sympathies to the people of Vanuatu and said Papua New Guinea stands ready to assist its Melanesian brother regain its footing after natural disasters hit the island nation beginning Friday last week. Vanuatu is now a declared state of emergency. It was first hit by Category 4 tropical cyclone Judy and 2 days later by Cyclone Kevin, with winds measuring up to 230 kilometers an hour, according to the Fiji Meteorology Service. No casualties have been reported. Hundreds of people remain in emergency evacuation centers in the capital of Port Vila. On that same token, Marape said assessments of damages in parts of the country, including West New Britain, will be carried out and government support will be provided to those affected. Recent strong winds and rain wreaked havoc in parts of the oil palm province, including the collapse of the 12th bridge. Annabeg High School in the Middle Ramu District, Medan Province, is a school that is lagging behind in this academic year, just like in the past years of its life. The school lacks facilities from infrastructure to teaching and learning materials, but there are now 160 students very eager to learn with the help of 6 dedicated teachers.
Annabeg High School came out of the age-old Annabeg Primary School, a Catholic agency school that educated hundreds of students from this remote rural part of Medang since independence. However, due to distance to travel over difficult and treacherous terrain, student intake has been irregular. Infrastructure is limited to bush material buildings, including teachers' houses, and nothing else to make it a viable high school facility. Newly appointed Principal Rachel Williams and her husband Rodney arrived to school with nothing much. After making a very difficult 2-day journey from Medang to Annabeg Mission Station, the couple had to return to Medang to source funding support for appropriate infrastructure with the school board chairman. Earlier this week, they met the governor for Medang, Ramsi Pariwa, and presented a proposal for infrastructure, but a basic commitment from the local MP for Middle Ramu is required for the government to counterfund. Nevertheless, there are 160 eager students, 105 in grade 9 and 45 in grade 10, now taking up classes. There are 15 feeder schools, but the remoteness makes it difficult to get a steady number each year. Mrs. Williams said the local member has indicated to fund a double classroom and a science laboratory. Though it has been difficult, the 6 teachers out of the 8 approved positions are now on site and teaching, including the principal and her husband. Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
Purple and white, signifying justice, dignity and purity, is shown in solidarity for women's empowerment in the streets of Sir Hubert Murray Stadium to Ella Beach on International Women's Day. IWD is a global initiative celebrated annually on March 8. This year's theme is Digital, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. NCDC Active City Development Program hosted a walk for IWD on Sunday, March 5 from Sir Hubert Murray Stadium to Ella Beach in the nation's capital. The walk included bringing attention to women's rights issues like gender equality, reproductive rights, and violence and abuse against women. In her opening remarks after the walk, the UN Women Deputy Country Representative put the challenge to young people to work and focus on what technologies can be developed to help women farmers in rural areas to improve productivity, to help more girls access education when they can't get to school, and help market women access online banking. Governor Powers Pakop encouraged women and girls to use available digital and technological platforms to help bridge the gender divide. Save the Children Papua New Guinea today signed the Partnership Engagement Practice Agreement with the National Office of Child and Family Services in Port Moresby. This is the third national entity to sign such an agreement with the NOCFS after UNICEF and the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands.
The Partnership Engagement Practice Agreement signing between Save the Children PNG and the National Office of Child and Family Services today in Port Moresby signifies its alignment with the policies and strategies of the government through the NOCFS relating to the voices of children being heard in Papua New Guinea. Country Director for Save the Children PNG, Phil William Igara explains.
Because of the network that the office brings by virtue of having the whole of government behind it, we are so grateful because that network in itself will give us the strength also as an international NGO working with local NGOs to make sure that we can bring in some of the ideas that we can share, but they are in a better position to take forward for us than perhaps ourselves.
Igara said through such a collaboration, the children's voices will be raised and be heard more. Chief Executive Officer and Director for National Office of Child Family Services, Simon Yanis, is pleased that Save the Children has come forward as the first international NGO to partner with the office. He said it is a record-breaking ceremony for a 40-year struggle within their own lane of delivering services to children.
So for us to have this partnership is a record-breaking ceremony in terms of how best an international NGO can able to work partnership with the scarce resources that we have in order to collaborate, especially to deliver to our children in this country.
Yanis said the Children and Family Services Office is a result of government's reform within the policy and the legislative structure.
Giving visibility to children in this country is an achievement for children for themselves, and giving an office for themselves. So it can become a mouthpiece and also a ear and eyes for the children of Papua New Guinea, because that space that we are working for, the population cannot speak for themselves and cannot talk for themselves for their rights.
Frida Kana, TVWAN News.
The Vaccine Task Force, New Guinea Islands Regional team led by Deputy Controller Dr. Esrom Downey were in West New Britain Province to conduct vaccine surveillance and monitoring checkups to ensure 38 health facilities in the province had adequate provisions of COVID-19 vaccines. The vaccine team met with Dr. Joseph Nale, Director of Public Health with the Provincial Health Authority, to discuss and strategize effective systems to improve COVID-19 vaccination and other routine immunization vaccines in the province. More emphasis was raised around strengthening COVID-19 vaccinations, cold chain equipment, and making sure that the 38 health facilities reach 80% to 100% of vaccines by the end of March. Dr. Downey said the priority areas are access to vaccines, data collection and reporting, and risk communication and community engagement activities to be effective and improved by end of March. You're watching TVWAN News. When we return, we'll have news from overseas.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him all together.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager. Bungum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
When skin tends to lack natural oil, it is termed dry skin. Refresh and rehydrate with the Neutrogena Hydro Boost range. Here's a simple 3-step routine. 1. Hydro Boost Cleanser. It is gentle, won't clog pores, and adds moisture to the skin, unlike soap. Step 2. A moisturizer, such as this one, for replenishment. Step 3. Bright Eyes. A specially formulated eye roll-on. Infuses moisture around the delicate eye area. And there you go. Be beautiful, be you.
A quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different pack sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier by you like you more.
No matter how hard I try, I always do something wrong.
Instead of thinking of your son, you'd rather get gold earrings made for your niece. Pay off your mother's loan if you really care about your uncle. Repay the favors he's done.
Pooja, they are good people, and they are willing to give you $1 million in advance.
I want you to win somebody's heart, my son.
Welcome back. Turning overseas, new research from the Diversity Council of Australia shows racism and sexism is still a major problem in Australian workplaces.
What we did for International Women's Week was try and make a contribution that recognised that not all women are the same, and especially for trying to access leadership. There are particular challenges and roadblocks that different kinds of women will experience. So in this report we looked at women from culturally and racially marginalised groups, 370 of them, and what we found was on their pathway to leadership they really had to shapeshift to try and fit a narrow prototype. This is something that women have tended to do in general, but if you're racially and culturally diverse, it's amplified because the obstacles are amplified. So things like trying to, people adjusted their accent, they adjusted the way they dressed. I mean, some people were quite radical with the things they did to alter their appearance. But in general, it's an attempt at fitting in, and fitting in a way that's really disingenuous to who you are.
With interest rates on the rise, more and more Australians are facing mortgage stress. It's predicted there'll be an increase in the number of people who qualify to withdraw their super early because of financial hardship.
Australians, Kerry Dare's home is her world.
It is quiet, it's peaceful, it has my garden, it has my piano, it has my dog.
The 45-year-old bought her house north of Hobart 5 years ago when she was working as a florist. But she's suffered multiple health issues since and now relies on a disability pension for income.
There's days where I need to ring my father to get help getting out of bed physically. I can go for a week without showering sometimes because it's physically not possible.
It's meant she's had to withdraw money from her superannuation to pay her mortgage.
I was always taught that superannuation was a bit of a holy grail. Nowadays, it is far more sensible for me to use it whilst I'm looking down the barrel of homelessness.
Superannuation can be accessed early due to severe financial hardship, compassionate grounds, terminal illness or an incapacity to work. With interest rates on the rise, it's expected more Australians will find themselves in financial stress and qualify to access some of their super early.
Superannuation is something that people are increasingly looking to already to help deal with that mortgage stress that they're under.
But rather than wait for the worst to happen, should people be given greater freedom to tap into their super?
I've proposed we unwind Australia's superannuation system.
A Productivity Commission inquiry in 2019 found Australians pay over $30 billion a year in fees on their super. And it's estimated superannuation tax concessions will cost the Australian government more than $50 billion this financial year, and it's a figure which is growing.
The tax breaks on superannuation are worth roughly what the age pension is worth as a whole. So we could pay twice the age pension with the same budgetary effect because the tax breaks for super are so large.
The federal government has plans to cap superannuation tax breaks for people with balances of $3 million or more, but it's opposed to easier early access to retirement funds.
The cost of taking out money when you're younger really does compound across your lifetime.
Super Consumers Australia says while there's room for fixes in the system, it's still the best way to retire comfortably.
Otherwise, the situation is, full age pension, which is going to keep you just above the poverty line if you're a homeowner, but it doesn't do much more than that.
Kerry Dare is realistic that she'll have run out of super by the time she reaches retirement age. She's hoping what remains of her nest egg will be enough to help her ride out the coming interest rate rises, but she knows it's going to be tough.
It's quite frightening. I don't know what to expect a lot of the time. If I think about the future, I do not know what that holds. I try and not think about it. I actively try and not think about it.
For parents needing to distract a child, screens are sometimes a necessary evil. But there's mounting evidence that exposure to screens changes how a child's brain develops.
What the research shows is kind of in line with what we already knew about screen time, which is that for kids under the age of 2, there's really no recommended level. They really shouldn't be having any screen time at all, even though if you are a parent, and it's a very enticing thing to pop those kids in front of the screen and give them a bit of a distraction because they are so into it. There's so many apps that are designed for young kids and seem to be really educational. But actually kids, when they're using the screen apps, aren't necessarily learning skills that they can that they can apply outside of using them. So if you have a kid using an app on a screen and using it to build like the building blocks, build a little tower with it, if you give them the building blocks in real life, they're not generalising that information to use that skill in real life. So there's not a real kind of educational benefit from using them. And of course we know that it does have some problems with attention. So definitely listen to the health report tonight because Shelby Trainer, our reporter, has been practising herself using some of these toddler apps and they're quite enticing.
Yeah. As you say, Tegan, the current guidelines suggest no screen time for kids under 2, which probably seems very reasonable to anybody who doesn't have kids, but are those guidelines realistic?
I think that people need to make their own parenting decisions themselves. I think it's good to know what the guidelines are because I think if the guidelines said 30 minutes, then you might sort of go, well, that's a good thing. I'm gonna give my kids an educational opportunity that you're adding something to them. I think when you know that there isn't any sort of basically safe recommended amount, then that helps people modulate that. I think avoiding screens entirely is basically impossible in today's times, especially in families where there's older children who might also be using screens. But just knowing that that's the baseline is a good start for parents.
Right, so how is exposure to screens and Tegan changing kids' brains?
Yeah, I think it's about attention and how they sort of form those neural connections in their brains. And so I'm completely lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, Roz.
That's okay. You're talking about...
I'm obviously having too much screen time myself.
You're talking about how it might change kids' brains. This is what Shelby has been examining.
Yeah, exactly. So it's emerging research, but basically the sorts of apps that we use and the way that video is cut together is affecting the development of their brains, their ability to sort of maintain attention, and that's why when we already know that the screen time recommendation is 0, it's really adding to that weight of evidence.
Yeah.
Passengers could face major disruptions at Melbourne Airport on Wednesday as transport workers strike over a pay dispute.
Workers have taken this protected industrial action, lodging it with the Fair Work Commission, to go on strike from 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That will last for 24 hours, and it involves more than 40 workers at the refuelling company Rivet at Melbourne Airport. Now, the majority client for Rivet refuelling is Qantas, so the union, the Transport Workers Union, says that this will affect, or it is likely to cause disruptions to both domestic and international flights for Qantas, as well as QLink and other international carriers, including Freight and DHL. Some of those international carriers include Qatar, also Singapore, Scoot, Japan Airlines, Fiji Airways and Cathay Pacific as well. Now, the Transport Workers Union says that it's been left with no choice but to take this industrial action because it has been locked in a pay and conditions dispute with Rivet for the past year, and it wants to see Rivet return to the negotiating table before it decides to stop any of this action. Now, we've also heard as well from the Transport Workers Union that they are saying that the workers have been left with no pay rises for almost 3 years as a result of this locked pay dispute, while Qantas, the major client, has posted a $1 billion half-year profit. We have sought some sort of comment from Rivet, and we are still waiting to hear back from them. However, Qantas has indicated that the dispute is not really with the airline. It does say that its flight schedule going out of Melbourne will not change on Wednesday, and it's also put out a statement saying that once it finds out the information about exactly how Rivet's refuelling services will be impacted by this strike on Wednesday, it will put together some contingency measures to ensure that those planes coming into Melbourne Airport carry additional fuel so that it minimises any impact on customers.
And that ends the news segment. Here's the weather report for the next 24 hours. And that ends the news segment. In sports, Jan Kasman inspired and the first Western Highlands team to win. Those stories and more later on in the bulletin with Terry.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Bulavinaka, I'm Bertrand Jeng. It's time to revive what's important. Our stories, our food, our culture, our revolution. Join esteemed Chef Robert Oliver and I in the Revolution Kitchen as our 5 teams embark on this epic journey of global importance.
They're making real change, edible change, at a grassroots level. This is what the revolution is all about.
Cooking for pride of country using traditional methods to create some of the finest Pacific cuisine the world has seen.
That is incredible.
The best is all we can give.
I know, definitely.
We're gonna kick ass.
How are we all feeling today? Which team will rise to the top and claim the supreme title in this Pacific Island food revolution?
Inte armarna på bordet. Nej. Det vet jag.
Du, har du extra nyckeln? Till... Nej, hem till dig. Ja, vad har du gjort av din?
Jimmy bor hos sina föräldrar, fast han får inte ha någon egen nyckel. Anders har allt det där som Jimmy inte har.
Vad glor ni på? Har ni inte sett en människa?
Jo, jag har sett många.
Asså?
Mischa kom till Sverige för 70-talet för att arbeta.
Ge mig mitt barn.
Sebastian! Sebastian, svara!
Lämna försiktigheten bakom dig och sök äventyret.
Welcome back. In sports, as the PNG Barramandis build towards the ever-important ICC World Cup qualifier playoff tournament, the results in the recently concluded ICC World Cup League 2 tri-series against UAE and Nepal proved to be positive, with the team claiming 2 massive victories and 2 close losses. With the final 2 rounds of the ICC World Cup League 2 effectively practice matches for the Barramandis, some fantastic team and individual performances are building confidence and a winning mentality amongst the group. Chopper Sopa, 5 for 25, and Riley Hakure, 5 for 13, shone with the bat, while Sese Bao, 74, and Tony Hura also had good tournaments with the bat. New coach Mark Coles has taken a hands-off approach by rotating his playing squad and experimenting with the side ahead of the more important ICC World Cup qualifier playoff tournament in Namibia. Anything other than top 2 finish in this tournament will see PNG lose ODI status and its ranking inside the top 20. The next stop is Nepal for the final tri-series round of ICC World League 2 against the host and UAE. After a 3-year absence due to COVID-19 and other related factors, the sport of Taekwondo is slowly but surely back with the staging of regional tournaments in the past months. Following NGI and Momase, over the weekend, Taekwondo PNG staged the Southern Region Taekwondo Championships at the Taurama Aquatic Center that also had a team from New Ireland.
With the Pacific Games coming up at the back end of the year, Taekwondo PNG is not resting on its laurels after a brief hiatus. In the past months, a number of regional tournaments were successfully run in the New Guinea Islands and Momase regions, followed by the Southern Region over the weekend at the Taurama Aquatic Center. A team from New Ireland, Karanas Taekwondo, also participated apart from host NCD and Central. The two-day tournament started on Saturday and concluded successfully on Sunday with the finals in the various divisions from novices, juniors to seniors. Vice President Taekwondo PNG, Master Jamovi Stone, said it was encouraging to see the interest coming back, particularly the novices and the juniors taking up the sport. Stone said these young fighters will be the next generation that they are targeting to develop and take the sport forward in 3 to 5 years' time.
I see a lot of potential in the juniors. These are the ones that probably in the next few years, maybe five-year time frame, that we'll look at them and maybe going to fight bigger fights. But overall, I'm quite satisfied with the fighters and the way they're performing their techniques here.
He was quite surprised by the skill level and techniques displayed by some of the younger athletes with great potential to excel in the sport. Onto the seniors, Stone singled out current top PNG female fighter Rose Tona as still a force to be reckoned with.
I'm surprised with the level of skill from the Chen family, I think Karenas, and a lot of good Rose Tona. I think she maintains supremacy in the senior division. We all see how she goes. But there are a lot of young guys that I see that are coming to the range. Yeah, I see Vespa, the one that just won with the opponents there. Vespa. He's another male that we're looking at. He's a very potential fighter and a very good fighter in the 70 kilogram division.
The regional Taekwondo tournaments are being used as a platform to select the best fighters, both current and up-and-coming, for the national titles, which is scheduled for the end of this month.
Some of the guys that we haven't seen, the novices and plus the first-timers, they quite impressed me. So I'm looking at them, and maybe at the national titles, we can see some of these guys promoted up, and maybe not this Pacific game, but the next one. We've got a lot of old hands still vying for their positions next end of this month at the national title. Obviously, we're going to have centers from KB and the Highland Province, Borobe, and also Southern region.
11-year-old martial artist Oliver Casman is an aspiring young Taekwondo enthusiast with a dream to follow the footsteps of his dad, former PNG rep, now instructor and national coach Edward Casman. Young Oliver, for the first time, took part in the Southern Region Taekwondo Championships held at the Tauranga Aquatic Centre over the weekend and was a standout in the cadet category.
Oliver Casman, one of the novices who took part in the 35 kg cadet category at the Southern Region Championships. Oliver beat his opponents from Karenas team Joseph Panau and Sean Gaukiri of EG Karate Club on points in the last day of the championships. He said they do a lot of training at home with his older siblings, and that gave him a lot of confidence going into the tournament.
First fight was alright, it was quite simple. The second fight was a bit challenging. Last fight was even more challenging, but still won.
When asked about how much he can remember about his dad's history, young Oliver admitted nothing, as he was not born yet when his dad, Edward Casman, made his name in the sport, representing the country on many occasions at the South Pacific Games and other major world Taekwondo title fights where he made his mark. From seeing pictures and reading stories and articles about his dad, Oliver still gets goosebumps as he aspires to make his own history one day. Oliver said he gets a lot of inspiration from his big brother and current PNG rep Kevin Casman, who competed at the seniors under 68 kg.
Coach is my firstborn brother. He also represented PNG.
Oh, okay. All right.
He said the championships has given him a lot of confidence to compete against other young fighters and have fun.
I think that inspired me. It's about like self-defense and confidence to go out there and fight and participate and have fun.
Oliver's next goal is to make the national titles at the end of the month, though he's still got some work to do.
Yeah, I want to go to the national championships.
Oliver said young boys and girls out there who would like to take up martial arts must have the right mindset and confidence.
They can learn Taekwondo, but they just have to have the mindset and the confidence to learn Taekwondo.
Apart from Taekwondo, Young Oliver competes in athletics, basketball, soccer and swimming.
Homeland Saints have created history in the Coca-Cola Iparas Cup by being the first Western Highlands team to win. The visiting team stamped their mark by beating host Morobe Pride 14-10 at the Lae Rugby League Oval.
13 minutes into the grand final match and the Western Highlands outfit recorded an opening try through left winger Jade Pook. Captain Mosley Tika was unable to convert, leaving the score at 4-0. The hosts were outplayed by a nimble Mount Hagen side, failing to record a try in the first half. 6 minutes into the second half and an impressive run by Saints forward John Pook placed the visiting team in front with 8 points, but Tika again could not convert. 19 minutes in, Morobe Pride recorded their first unconverted try of the match through right winger Cedric Buno. The scores were 8-4 until the flat-footed Western Highlands side grounded the ball past the host team's tired defenders. This time Tika found the middle of the post for a 10-point lead. 37 minutes in and Pride's Leo Fred recorded a converted try, but it was too little too late. The Saints created history in the Coca-Cola Iparas Cup by being the first Western Highlands team to win, scooping the coveted Iparas Cup as well as 50,000 kina. Second place Pride walked away with 25,000 kina.
Lae team 14B Pirates beat Prum Panthers 15-10 at the Lae Rugby League Oval on Sunday. They have secured the third spot in the 2021-22 Coca-Cola Iparas Cup Grand Final. Keen to start on a firm note, the Lae outfit registered the first try of the afternoon. However, they failed to convert the kick, leaving the scores at 4-0 until the Angan team leveled the playing field with an unconverted try. The teams went to the break at 4-all and returned with Pirates continuously keeping the Angan defenders on their toes. They soon registered 2 tries with 1 conversion. The Panthers worked hard to close the gap, responding soon with a try, with the score now at 14-10. A field goal by the home side ensured a 5-point clear lead as the final whistle blew. The Pirates were awarded 15,000 kina, while Panthers got 10,000 kina. The Dolphins have pulled off one of the biggest upsets in NRL history, stunning Premiership favourites Roosters in their inaugural season. Wayne Bennett's expansion side dominated in defence and outmuscled the Roosters for a gritty 28-18 win in front of 32,177 fans at the Suncorp Stadium. Heading into the 2023 season, most pundits had the Dolphins collecting the wooden spoon and the Roosters contesting the grand final. But the 17th NRL club were clearly the better side on the Sunday afternoon as the team, notably without marquee signings, outclassed the Glamour club full of superstars. Here are the match highlights.
Slowly, he puts his hand on it. That'll be a try for the Roosters. Now Russell King, straight through. He's got support. They're looming up, and there is the hammer. Hamaso Tabuai-Fido. Put his name in the history books. A metre short. Walker. Now Tedesco. Beautiful ball they're in. Drew Hutchison with the try. Oh, great footwork. Jermaine Asako with a beauty. Is it going to bounce? Teddy and debates it. Backs up. The Dolphins. History at Suncorp Stadium. They've beaten the Roosters. 28 points.
And that's all the sports for now. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you, Terry. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water. Cough or sneeze into your elbow. And exercise social distancing. If you're feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
Bye.